Now this is a question regarding the aquatic producer known as phytoplankton. And the question is like this: with reference to phytoplankton, consider the following statements. And first statement, it has a great role in making ocean the largest carbon sink. Then second statement, they are the first trophic level component of aquatic food chain. And third, some of them uses bioluminescence phenomenon for communication when they have stresses in the water body. So regarding planktons, we discussed in the earlier questions, right? Plankton means which are floating on the water and they can't swim against the major current in the water. And planktons was divided into two, zooplankton and phytoplankton. Zooplankton means animal-like and phytoplankton means plant-like plankton. That means the plankton will be having chlorophyll. So the phytoplankton is the plant-like organisms of the water that carry out photosynthesis and float in the upper areas of the world's oceans. Okay, so these are organisms, living organisms, planktons, which is having chlorophyll. Because of that, they can produce the carbohydrates by the process photosynthesis. So since they have the chlorophyll, they can produce the carbohydrates by the process photosynthesis. They are the producers present in the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, producers means they are the autotrophs. That means they have the capacity to produce their own food. Right, they are self-nourishing components of the ecosystem. So this phytoplankton, they are also known as microalgae, and they are similar to terrestrial plants in that they contain chlorophyll to capture sunlight, and they use photosynthesis to turn it into chemical energy in order to live and grow. That means they will produce carbohydrates. So we know that oceans are the largest sink of carbon on earth, right? The reason for that is because of the phytoplanktons, okay, or because of the producers in aquatic life. Because of these, ocean is the largest carbon sink. Carbon sink, you know that, where the carbon will be stored in a bulk amount, right? So more than 50% of the oxygen we are having on earth is converted by or produced by this phytoplankton. Okay, so that much carbon will be stored in the ocean, and that storing is done by, or that carbon sequestration is done by this phytoplankton, these tiny phytoplanktons. So the phytoplankton is responsible for most of the transfer of carbon in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to the ocean. And these phytoplanktons, they are called as biological carbon pump. Okay, so worldwide, this biological carbon pump, that means phytoplankton, they will transfer about 10 gigatons of carbon from the atmosphere to the deep ocean each year. So that's why ocean is the largest carbon sink. Okay, and this phytoplankton is also contributing to that. Now regarding bioluminescence process, we know that certain animals or certain living organisms is having the capacity to produce light using some chemical reactions, like the fireflies. Okay, so like these fireflies, some of the phytoplankton can also emit light, especially the dinoflagellates. We know that dinoflagellates and diatoms, these two are the broad categories under phytoplankton, dinoflagellates and diatoms. Okay, so diatoms, they will show or they will exhibit this bioluminescence process. That means dinoflagellates can emit light when they experience some stresses on their environment. So when this phytoplankton experience some stresses like this pressure or pollution or acidification, like this phytoplankton, they will emit this light source. So this bioluminescence, it is used to evade predators by some organisms and act as defense mechanism in dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates produce light when disturbed and will give a light flash lasting a fraction of a second. And this flash is meant to attract a predator to the creature disturbing or trying to consume these dinoflagellates. And this light flash also surprises this predator, causing it to worry about other predators attacking it and making the predator less likely to prey on these dinoflagellates. So this bioluminescence process, it will be used by these dinoflagellates for their defense mechanism, as well as when they experience some sort of stresses like this pollution, acidification, they will use this bioluminescence process. So coming to the question again, first statement, the phytoplankton has a great role in making ocean the largest carbon sink. So that's the correct statement. Ocean is the largest carbon sink, and about 10 gigaton of carbon is sequestered by this phytoplanktons, or more than 50% of oxygen is produced by this phytoplanktons, right? So first statement is correct. We eliminated C. Then second statement, they are the first trophic level component of aquatic ecosystem or aquatic food chain. So that's the correct statement, because phytoplanktons are the producers. They are having chlorophyll, so they can produce the carbohydrates by the process photosynthesis. Hence, they are called as autotrophs or producers. So the producers are the first trophic level component of a food chain, right? So that's why second statement is correct. So we eliminated A also. Then third statement, some of these phytoplankton use bioluminescence phenomenon for communication when they have stresses in the water body. Obviously, that's also correct statement. They will use the bioluminescence. Some phytoplanktons like dinoflagellates, they are using bioluminescence process for their communication processes. So here our answer is D. That means all these three statements are correct.